Well, thank you all for being here, and welcome to Allegheny County, my home county. Before we get started, I'm so thrilled to be here with so many partners that we have both in the education space and electeds, and I'd like to introduce some of them. Thrilled to be joined by PSEA, PFT, the AIU, and the YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh. They've been phenomenal partners in Western Pennsylvania in terms of our educational outcomes. We have a number of elected officials here with us, some of them that you're going to hear from, but I know we have Senator Lindsey Williams, who's the Democratic chair of the Senate Education Committee with us. We have Mayor Pauline Calabrese from Penn Hills. We have Penn Hills School Board members and School Board President Aaron Vecchio, and the Penn Hills Elementary Principal Kristen Brown, as well as Representatives Nick Piscatano and I think Representative Ed Nielsen and Representative Joe McAndrew are with us as well. And I see County Councilman Nick Futolis out there as well. Nick, it's great to be here with you. Thanks for joining us. You know, when the governor and I were running for office, we pledged that we would always fight for the communities that have felt forgotten and left behind. We pledged to fight for distressed communities and distressed school districts. We promised to speak up on behalf of Pennsylvanians who can't speak out and fight for every Pennsylvanian, even those who are too young to vote. Young people like Morgan McKnight, who you're going to hear from shortly. You see, if we take off our red jerseys and our blue jerseys and put on our Pennsylvania jerseys, we can deliver real results for the good people here in Pennsylvania. The governor and I firmly believe that government can and should be a force for good in people's lives, and that we can do big things if we're willing to work together. We worked together to pass the largest tax break for Pennsylvania seniors in nearly 2 decades. We worked together to provide critical investments in infrastructure and economic development. And today we're going to talk about the investments we'll be making in our most valuable resource, our children. You know, next month, God willing, I'll become a dad for the first time to a baby girl. And I'm so excited. But these issues have taken on a new meaning for me. We need to give our kids the freedom to become whatever they want to be, the freedom to chart their own course here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Whether that means going to college, going to a trade school, or starting a business, every young person deserves that opportunity. I want my daughter to grow up and have an even greater opportunities than the ones that I was privileged to have. That's what we all want for our kids across this Commonwealth. And that's what we're delivering through this state budget this year with the partners who are standing here behind me. And so I'd like to introduce you to our next speaker, Amy Kinley, the president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor Davis. We appreciate it. Good afternoon. I'm Amy Kinley. I am the CEO and president of the YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh. You're wondering, why is the YMCA here today? I've actually had some people ask. Well, that's because we host YMCA Summer Day Camp here in partnership with Penn Hills Elementary School so that kids in this community receive year-round support. So we're excited to be part of this. When we think about summertime at the Y, we think about camp. We think about an opportunity for kids to explore places, activities, and ideas that are outside of their normal experiences and their day-to-day. At camp, we believe children discover new talents, new interests, and of course, make new friends. Parents, for generations, have trusted the YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh and YMCAs in general with the care of their kids because we provide environments where kids can foster leadership, improve their self-confidence, and deepen their respect for their environments and the communities in which they live. Camp also means exciting field trips and occasionally visits from some very important persons. This afternoon, I'm honored to welcome Governor Josh Shapiro, Lieutenant Governor Austin Davis, and Department of Education Secretary Dr. Khalid Mumin. The governor and secretary are here to share some exciting news regarding a bipartisan budget that has recently been passed for the state of Pennsylvania. This bipartisan budget delivers the governor's top priorities that create stronger economy, safer communities, and better schools. We're proud to be a part of this because it aligns with the YMCA's priorities as well. We are a leading nonprofit, and as such, the YMCA serves Greater Pittsburgh by building healthier families, empowering youth, and fostering inclusive communities. It requires strong partnerships with families, educators, such as the school here at Penn Hills Elementary School, businesses, government, and of course other nonprofits, as well as the resources to support the work that we're doing. We thank Governor Shapiro, Lieutenant Governor Davis, Secretary Mumin, all of the dedicated elected officials that are here today, and the legislature for their work on behalf of the state's youth. We look forward to forging even deeper partnerships for the long-term benefit of all of our children. Thank you, and I have the privilege of introducing our Assistant Superintendent of the Penn Hills Elementary School, Don Golden.
All right.
We'll trade places.
Thanks, John.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. As she mentioned, I am the assistant superintendent, not for the elementary, but for the school district. So just need to say that. And just let me say that it is an honor and a privilege for me to serve Penn Hills, to serve the Penn Hills community, and welcoming Governor Shapiro, Lieutenant Governor Austin, to our community. The fact that he is taking time out of his busy schedule to visit us confirms that Penn Hills is on the map and for the right reasons. My situation is unique, and not only am I an employee of the district, but I live in the district and my children attend school in the district. I'm proud to say that 2 of my 4 children are recent graduates of the Penn Hills High School, and so we recognize that. And so I just needed to say that because I'm invested in more than one way in Penn Hills and what we are doing in this community. We recognize the Penn Hills community has been through a lot in recent years, including the devastating loss of human life when 4 of our Penn Hills students lost their lives to acts of gun violence and 1 in a drug overdose. The tragic loss of these students happened over a period of just a few weeks and all within the same 2020-2021 school year. On top of that, our students were also dealing with COVID-19. The tragic loss of these students continues to be felt across our Penn Hills community and beyond. As has been widely known, we Penn Hills residents have been burdened with multiple consecutive tax increases that were necessary to right the ship following a series of poor financial decisions that were made about 10 years ago. Despite these heartbreaks and hardships, we remain united, resilient, and hopeful as a PH family. And just by the way, Governor, we spell family with a PH instead of an F. Okay, cool. Here in Penn Hills, that's right. By signing into law a common sense, bipartisan budget that delivers on one of Governor Shapiro's top priorities of investing in K-12 public schools, we will see the largest increase in basic education funding formula in Pennsylvania's history. The funding also provides funding for universal free breakfast for every public school student to make sure our students are well prepared when they enter our classrooms. While as a district and community we are excited about these increases, we also recognize that there is still work that needs to be done and look forward to working with the legislature to make even more progress for our students. I would like to extend a thank you to, again, our school board president, Aaron Vecchio, Dr. Matzook, our chief recovery officer, and our elementary principal, Mrs. Kristen Brown, for being here today, but also to the students, staff, and community and the future of the Penn Hills School District, because we know that looks very bright. We appreciate the extra effort and consideration extended by our own Senator Jay Costa, who helped jumpstart the financial recovery efforts in our school district and continues to keep the Penn Hills School District under his watchful eye and care. We would also like to thank Patrick Dowd of the Allegheny County Health Department for recent grants awarded that support local youth and more trauma-informed practices in our schools. And again, thank you, Governor Shapiro, for visiting us today in our Penn Hills home and helping to validate our work. We appreciate that you share not only in belief, but also in practice, our commitment to equity and dignity for all. Thank you. And with that, I have the distinct pleasure of welcoming Senator Jay Costa.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank all of you for being here. And Governor, let me extend a thank you on behalf of everyone who's here, all the organizations and folks who are here. Thank you for taking the time to come to the Penn Hills School District and experience the tremendous turnaround that we see, not only fiscally and financially, but also with the performance of the students who you're going to hear from a little bit later. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Senator.
Appreciate it. And more importantly, thank you for the work that you have done over the course of the past 7 months, almost 8 months, with respect to this education funding system we're working on. Certainly we know that there are challenges that we still have as we go forward to address the unconstitutional nature of the funding formula, but you have made a tremendous first step towards that end. And knowing in our conversations your commitment to going forward and to ensuring that we continue to do that is extremely important, and it continues the confidence that the people in this community have about the progress that's made in Penn Hills here. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the working relationship that I've had and we have had in your Department of Education and previous department has had with Penn Hills under leadership of Aaron Vecchio and Dan Matsuk, Dr. Matsuk, and the work that's been done the last several years, and our ability through programs and educational programs and resources we can offer districts that have really helped and been instrumental in being able to provide the financial footing, the foundation that they need to continue to grow. So we've been very blessed to be able to be a part of this conversation. I want to say thank you to all the folks involved. Aaron and Dan, thank you for the work that you've done, and certainly Superintendent Hines as part of that conversation. These folks had to make tough decisions. They made tough decisions to be able to endure and sustain a very strong school district for the benefit of the kids over here. That's what this is about. They make tough decisions to ensure that they can have a school district that's going to be viable, that's going to be strong, that's going to be academically strong, and that's what we have here right now. And that's wonderful along those lines. The administration, this governor has put forth a significant amount of things. We talked about the free breakfast program that Senator Lindsey Williams championed for a number of years now. It's a great thing that we're going to be able to do. Special education increases, the governor will talk about, and certainly the historic basic ed increases as well. And we're excited that we are where we are, but we know we have more work to do to address what needs to be done. I'm excited about what it's going to look like next year, because having these private conversations with the governor about what our challenge is to address a Commonwealth Court decision, we got to make big decisions and strong decisions going forward for all of our kids. So, Governor, thank you again for the work you've been doing. Thanks, you for joining us here. And now it's my opportunity to introduce Secretary Khalid Mumin. Secretary's been outstanding in the work that he's been doing, and really a breath of fresh air to our educational community in Pennsylvania. Secretary.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you so much. And good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to be here today. As you've heard on many occasions thus far, we finally have a budget. And again, I am Dr. Khalid Mumin, and I am the Secretary of Education here in Pennsylvania. And this visit today is so exciting for me because I've been in this role for 7 months, and I was in your shoes as a superintendent in a district that was financially distressed. But what I saw there is that there was hope. There's hope. That open advocacy, passionate action, and empathy for these young learners here. And that's a recipe for success. I am so excited because over my past 25 years, I was a teacher, a principal, a superintendent, and I had the opportunity to get into classrooms on a daily basis to really stay focused with head and heart alignment in regards to what's important in our schools. That's why I am elated. And we talk about the days of the BEF, or the Basic Education Funding Formula, and this budget includes an increase of $567 million for basic ed funding. Let me repeat, $567 million in basic ed funding. Now, I mentioned I was a superintendent before, and we saw levels of 350. 350, 567. A lot more can be done. This budget includes a $50 million increase in special education funding. I repeat, this budget includes an increase of $50 million in special ed funding. But let me tell you what those numbers really mean. For the student in an underfunded school, this means getting the basic resources they need for a world-class education. For the students living with different abilities, this means access to an equitable education that breaks down barriers. And for the public school student who comes to school with an empty stomach, this means free breakfast, no matter their family's income. As the Secretary of Education, I am so happy that the legislators have come together and the governor's vision is coming to fruition. And my role as the head of the Department of Education is to make sure that we are working around the clock to get this funding to the schools quickly as possible. We are excited to partner with Penn Hills and all 500 school districts across Pennsylvania to make history. This budget is an historic investment. It's a win for our students. It's a win for our educators. It's a win for our parents and our communities. It is a big step forward to giving every child the opportunity to succeed and the freedom to chart their own course. Now, the best part of this is I get the opportunity to introduce a very special person. She likes to chair. She loves rocking her Crocs, and I had mine on earlier today. I'm speaking of no one other than Morgan McKnight, 7th grader at Gateway Middle School. So please help me in welcoming Morgan to the podium.
Hello everyone, my name is Morgan McKnight, and today I have the honor to introduce and welcome our governor, Josh Shapiro.
Thank you,
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Morgan. I just want to note for the record that I had my Crocs on earlier too. and you think I'm kidding? My kids make fun of me for wearing Crocs with socks, but I'm going to tell them Morgan did it, so it must be cool. I really appreciate you introducing me today. Thank you very, very much. It means a lot. And in a few moments, you're going to sit right next to me when I sign that law, okay? That sound good? I want to say thank you to everyone in the Penn Hills community and the YMCA of Greater Pittsburgh for having us here today. It's a special privilege to be back in the home community of our great Lieutenant Governor, Austin Davis, to be surrounded by these wonderful elected leaders who serve in the House and Senate, especially Leader Costa, who leads the Democrats in the state Senate of Pennsylvania and whose district I am in. And I want to just say how thankful I am to have a moment out of my day to spend time with Morgan and these other kids. And y'all are waiting so patiently. Give me just a couple minutes, and then we're going to sit down and we're going to talk over here together. Just last week, I had the honor of signing into law a bipartisan budget that makes major investments in those children's future and in the future of all Pennsylvanians. This budget that I signed into law is a testament to what we can accomplish together when we set aside our political differences, our partisan differences, and we just focus on common sense solutions that are going to make people's lives better every single day. You see, in Pennsylvania, I'm the only governor in the nation with a full-time divided legislature. That means we've got one chamber controlled by Republicans, one controlled by Democrats. And so nothing can get done unless it passes the Democratic majority in the House and the Republican majority in the Senate. This budget is proof that even in a divided government, we can come together to get big things done, to put forth common sense solutions to the biggest challenges facing Pennsylvanians. Let me explain with some more granularity. This budget delivers, as you heard from our secretary, the largest single-year increase in basic education funding for Pennsylvania's 500 schools in the history of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. In practical terms, That means more money for each and every one of the 500 school districts in Pennsylvania. Here at Penn Hills, that means just in the basic education funding, an additional $1.5 million that goes to the school district for them to make the investments that they think is necessary. And again, that's just one piece of the resources and support that they get from the Capitol. That is $1.5 million more than they got last year, an 8% increase in the basic education funding for the Penn Hills School District. If you ask any teacher or administrator, they'll tell you in practical terms what that means. It means more books and learning tools in our libraries. It means more opportunities for administrators to hire more teachers and to pay a higher wage to our teachers in Pennsylvania. It means more computers and other STEM, and we call it STEAM, in my kids' school, STEAM opportunities for our children to learn. It's also important to note, as the Secretary said, it includes an additional $50 million for special ed, because I believe in a quality education for all children in Pennsylvania. It also opens up new doors of opportunities for our children, particularly in middle school and high school, by investing millions more, nearly $25 million, in VOTEC and CTE to give our students an opportunity to succeed. I believe more VOTEC equals more opportunity for children's future. And I believe, and I say it every day, every child in Pennsylvania deserves the freedom to chart their own course and the opportunity to succeed. This budget makes a down payment on that opportunity. But I think it's also important to note it's not just enough for lawmakers and the governor and lieutenant governor to just write a check to a school district and assume that we've accomplished all we need to accomplish. We need to solve particular challenges in our school district and give our leaders the tools they need to be able to lean in on that. You know, as I've traveled all across this Commonwealth, one of the things I heard over and over and over again that has broken my heart over and over and over again is that there are too many kids coming to school hungry. Too many kids showing up with an empty belly. And I've also heard a lot from students in particular about the stigma associated with the hunger that they bring to school every day. Look, it's common sense. Students can't learn on an empty stomach. Heck, I know when I'm hungry, it's hard for me to make decisions. I think we all can appreciate that. And we should make sure our students have what they need to be able to be successful. How can we expect kids to learn math and science and English when they come to school on an empty stomach? We can't. That is why, in my budget address just about 3 or 4 months ago, I called for universal free breakfast for every one of Pennsylvania's school children. That was a bold promise, I know, building on the work that some of our senators and others have worked on for so many years, but it was a promise I was determined to keep. That is why at every step through this budget process, I made clear that universal free breakfast would remain on the table, wouldn't be cut, and we would deliver for our children. I know how important it is for our school children, and in my first budget, just about 6 months into my term, we delivered on that promise to our children. We got it done, and I'm here today to sign that into law. That means that all 1.8 million Pennsylvania school children are going to have the opportunity to show up at school and get free breakfast. Universal free breakfast puts every kid on the same playing field, gives every kid that opportunity to succeed. No matter how tight money might be at home, kids can start the day with a full belly and the ability to focus. And importantly, they won't be divided up from their friends when they have to go get their meal. They won't have to deal with the stigma associated with free meals. Every child can line up and every child can get that free breakfast. Every public school in Pennsylvania will now be able to give free breakfast to every student starting on the first day of classes just a few weeks from now. Here in Allegheny County, let me tell you what that means. 146,000 students can start their day with free breakfast. Right here at Penn Hills Elementary, 1,200 students are going to benefit from free breakfast. This is what good, common sense government looks like. And it means together we solved a problem and we're making people's lives better, investing in the well-being of our children. I want to pick up in closing on some of the comments that Leader Costa made. He was spot on. You know, I said it in March, and I'll say it again right now. This budget is the first of 2 budgets that we need to pass in my first 18 months in office. I made clear it was a 2-step process. In February, lawmakers received a call to action, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us to do right by our kids, to fund our schools equitably, when the court made a ruling that our current system of funding is unconstitutional, a position I supported as the Attorney General of this Commonwealth. Over the last few months, lawmakers of both parties, from both chambers, have gotten together around tables and talked about potential solutions to bring more equity into our system. And let's be clear, we didn't agree on everything along the way, but we all agree that Pennsylvania students deserve better than what they've gotten in the past. And so I consider this budget today to be a down payment on the progress we need to make in the future. To be sure, there is some unfinished business, but I am committed to working together with people from both sides of the aisle to do right by our children in this next budget. Today is a day to celebrate our collective progress. Today is a day we reaffirm our commitment to our children. And in a few weeks, when our children come back to school, they'll be able to have a full belly in the morning. They'll be able to learn. They'll be able to focus. And each lawmaker here today and those who supported this initiative should take some pride in knowing that together we are delivering meaningful progress, meaningful results for the children all across Pennsylvania. So it's my honor to be here with you all today. And right now, I want to sit down next to that tray, next to Morgan, and we're going to sign this, and then I'll be happy to come back and answer some of your questions. Thank you all very much.
Let's do it, Morgan.
Come on, gang. You all want to come around here? There's a cool lunch table there. Okay. How you doing, guys?
I love socks and Crocs.
You love Crocs and socks. How's it going? How are you? What's your name? What is it? Nice to meet you. Oh, this is cool. Yeah. This is awesome. Oh, you got your Barbie t-shirt on. I like that. Here, squeeze in, Morgan. Okay. Hi, sweetie. How are you? You have? It's a great school, isn't it?
I used to get good breakfast from breakfast.
You used to get good breakfast?
And I used to eat.
And are you ready to get good breakfast again? What's your favorite thing to have for breakfast?
I love donuts.
Donuts? All right. Maybe.
Pink frosting.
Got it. Yes. Yeah, Miss Brown's pretty awesome, right?
Say hi, Mr.
All right.
She's my principal.
Yeah. So, you know how in school we learn about how a bill becomes a law, right? How people in the House and Senate vote for it, and then the governor gets to sign it? So that's kind of what we're doing here today. They just put the bill on a breakfast tray, which is kind of cool, right? And so we got all these people who are working hard for you every day, who care a lot about you. And when I sign this with this pen, it's going to mean that your school, your teachers, your people working in the cafeteria can give you breakfast in the morning. Does that sound great?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, if you keep telling me to wait, I can't sign it. We can't get breakfast. Can I do that real quick?
Yes.
Okay. You ready, Morgan? All right, here we go. So this is House Bill 611, right? See that? And these are all the words that basically say you get free breakfast. Sound good? All right. And take this fancy pen over the side. Here we go. Ready, guys?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. There we go.
Good
Now
job.
it's law. And here's the thing. Morgan, I'm going to give you this pen. Any piece of paper you sign now becomes law, okay? Thank you, Morgan. Appreciate you. Thank you, everybody. You guys are awesome.
Well done, guys. Free breakfast, that's it.
Can I have the apple?
Yeah, all right. You can have it. And let's hold this up. This is our new law right here. Yeah. Isn't that cool? You guys got so quiet all of a sudden. They're hungry. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for spending some time with us. Yes. Yeah. What did Miss Sire teach you? There's no more bullies now, right? I'll see you too. I hope not. Thank you guys for coming.
Yes.
Isn't this a wonderful school? Yeah. Thanks for sitting here with me, my man. Appreciate it. He took your seat. Oh my God. Thanks, Morgan. All right. Be careful with that pen, okay? All right. Guys, have a great day.
Oh, I know, yeah. Oh, yeah, they went, yeah, that's
Bye, guys.
Other than the veterans, I'm sorry, yeah.
Oh, you want to go handshake? You got a good handshake. You've been Lieutenant Governor.
I got a nice office for you. How are y'all? You can see me.
You keep questioning them. Every time they're here, you
Have a
question
good
them,
day.
okay?
Have a great day. I love your shirt. Always be kind. You try to.
Oh, thanks, sweetie. You're the best president I ever had.
You guys have a great day. All right. Hi, how are you?
I think we're going to
You guys have a great day. Thanks for everything.
see you. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Take a few questions here, if you have some.
Governor, you recently vetoed the school voucher. Can't hear me? All right, I'm coming around. You recently vetoed the school voucher program, leaving an additional $100 million on the table. Do we have a plan for that money as well?
Look, I consider that to be unfinished business, something that the House and Senate needs to keep working on, along with raising the minimum wage, along with making sure that those who've been victims of abuse have the opportunity to confront their abusers in court, along with the Fairness Act to protect our LGBTQ community. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done in the House and Senate. I'm hopeful that they will come back to their session in the fall, prepared to work together, to prepare to find some more common ground. I look forward to working with them on all of those efforts.
So we don't have a plan for the additional $100 million?
Well, that $100 million is not part of the budget. It's now subject to further communication between the House and Senate. It's certainly a concept I support. I think it's important that we fully fund our schools and we give children who are struggling in difficult situations more opportunity to learn. And it's a fair disagreement, I know, with some people, but we've got to work on that together. We've got to continue to find common ground on that and many other issues. It's some unfinished business. I've been at this for 6-7 months. We've made a ton of progress already. We got a lot more work to do, and that's one of the many items we still have to work on.
Governor, can I clarify the $100 million that you say you support? Is that the Level Up funding or for the charter and voucher programs?
Both.
Okay, got it. And when it comes to Level Up funding, you know, is there anything you would say to school districts in those, 100 poorest school districts that now are heading into the school year not knowing if they're going to get that base funding? What would you say to them?
Well, I would say I'm confident that the House and Senate are going to come together and work on the additional language they need to be able to drive those resources out. Just to put this in some context for you, the overall budget that I signed a couple days ago, that, if you couldn't tell, was just a ceremonial thing, it includes about $46 billion, okay? Level Up is $100 million of that, and there's about $400 million total of areas where we need some additional language. I know the House and Senate are going to work to rectify their differences, send that to my desk, I'll sign it, and we'll be able to drive out the Level Up funding. Okay?
Anything else?
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Good work.
Are you doing it with the training with you this week?
Is in budget that makes major investments in those children's future and in the future future of all Pennsylvanians. This budget that I signed over and over again, that has broken my heart over and over and over again, is that there are too many kids coming to school hungry. Too many kids showing up.
State of Pennsylvania. This bipartisan budget delivers the governor's top priorities that create stronger economy, safer communities, and better schools.
I am so happy that the legislators come together and the governor's vision is coming to fruition.
Baron Vecchio and Dan Maxook, Dr. Maxook, and the work that's been done in the last several years, and our ability through programs and educational programs and resources we can offer districts
On a daily basis to really stay focused with head and heart alignment in regards to what's important in our schools. A lot more can be done. This budget includes a $50 million increase in special education funding. Parents in our communities. It is a big step forward to giving every child the opportunity to succeed and the freedom to do that too. Like I said,